I'm live. I'm just fiddling with the camera. Woohoo! Hello, 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 hello. Good evening, everybody. Can you see? Can you? Well, that's interesting. My phone's just beeped to tell me that I've gone live on Discord.
Sorry, that's me. Sorry.
That's it.
I'll get the star.
Right, now I can put the phone on silent now because I'm not waiting. I'm not reliant on text from yourself. But that is weird. My normal YouTube has just texted me to say that my Say Hi Paul YouTube is going live. How strange. Wow. So Moog is saying, wow, the live stream topics channel in Discord is a mess. Partly your fault. Partly Moog. Partly really Moog. But that's fine. And you see, I did a cunning thing. It was cunning, but not brutal. I went through it all at lunchtime and I clipped out the ones that were actually questions and not Moogisms. Little Moog grenade that just gets dropped in there and much chaos and hilarity ensues. So yes. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I haven't thought anything further than good evening. So I'll prattle a little bit for 5 minutes or so first. And then I'll launch into, and I'm pointing over here because there's another monitor over here that's got a document of all the things. Oh, wow. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, so I apologize. Josu Arilola. Welcome to Level 2 Exclusive Memberships, and welcome to Steve, who joined shortly after I put the thingy up earlier in the day. Is that useful? Is it useful to have the thing up early in the day so you know what's coming? I think it is. Okay, so today, still, I need you guys. I need to fight this because Tesco is still not selling caffeine-free Diet Coke in cans anymore. I'm never going to get a sponsorship deal if I keep turning up with opposition clobber. Okay, so mini prattle, quick, how's it all going-y type thing. Then I'm going to launch it. Oh, I already said that. That's how I ended up saying there was a monitor over here. And then, I don't know. You'll see that we have the elbow of Crimson. Crimson is on site today. And will be handing me little bits of paper that I can then read out at either intervals or at the end or something. So if we have any problems with audio or you can't open cans, let me open the can. Oh man, Eldar Blog, thank you so much yet again. You are a legend. Mick, likewise. You're all just awesome. Every one of you, everyone who's coming to watch, everyone who's a member, everyone who is very generously super chatting and joining. And yeah, awesome. I could say that all night. Right, so where am I at? What have I been doing? And what's the price of fish in Haven? I don't think it's for you, Moog. I think that is because of you. So, thanks. And what have I been doing? Well, this week was meant to be week 1 of my 4 weeks off work. Don't you hate having like a conscience and a work ethic? Because work got all massively messed up and everything got delayed. And my colleagues would have been totally screwed if I'd gone off and had taken my holiday. And some of the chaps I work with would have been left with a real pile of rubbish to pretend to deal with for the next 3 weeks. So I have moved my holiday back to finish this project plan, which is the bane of my existence, to then have it in a fit state for him to go live. So for me to go away on holiday. Otherwise, the great chap I'm working with, who will never see this, so his name's Ritesh. He's awesome. He'll never see this, but yeah, I don't want to leave him with a steaming pile of horse dung. So yeah, moved holiday back. So I've not been hobbying today. I'm not well on with my 18 million projects that I've decided to do. I'm still in denial that I'm going to do all of these projects, even though I know enough time to do them all in a 3/4 week holiday. I will only come to terms with that fact when I've got 1 day of holiday left, and I'm trying to work out how I fit 4 of these projects into 1 day. Oh man, Grandilla, thank you. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. It's not the company. It's not for the company, because they've had more than their pound of flesh out of me. It's just the chap I work with. He'd be fracked. So yeah. Oh, I really appreciate that.
I think one's enough.
One what?
Paul.
One Paul.
Yes, enough.
Yeah, I wouldn't want the competition of another Paul. Me and him would be having words.
Yeah.
It'd be like that episode of Red Dwarf when Rimmer gets another Rimmer projected. It's what's it called? Me Squared. Series 1, Episode 6. They do not get on well. And spoiler alert, one of them dies again. So what have I been doing? Well, I had thought I would get to do a bit of filming at the weekend, but I was so utterly and totally brain shattered that I thought, no. I can't. I haven't got the brain power, because I'm sure some of you who've got who are level 2 channel members will have seen some of the bat reps when I've just got that little bit too tired. I imagine that would be quite painful to watch. It was certainly quite interesting to film. And so I thought, no, I'm just going to do whatever this weekend. So I started filming. What's it called? My Necron hobby vlog. So I sat and built Necrons all weekend. All weekend. I played hired guns on the PlayStation a bit as well. Lots of fun. Which may be the reason why I've bought some Necromunda stuff, which will probably sit there for a long time. Necromunda is another one of these plans for this next 3 weeks. I told you I'm going to do everything. I may have 5 years worth of hobby stuff to actually do in the house, minimum. But I think I'm going to get it all done in this 3 weeks. So I built Necrons all weekend. So I filmed the first 2 episodes of my Necron hobby vlog. So one is going to... it's difficult because it's specifically a Necron hobby vlog. I'm doing it a bit differently. The first one's going up on the public YouTubes. And the next one I'm going to do... And after that, it's all for channel members. So that's a hobby vlog series that's going to go up exclusively for level 2 members. So first couple episodes of that filmed, which is good fun. And I've nearly built my first wave of Necrons. They're nearly all built. What else was I doing? Yesterday, I found myself at a bit of a loose end because I'd finished painting the thing that I had tried that I needed to get done for next weekend. And I thought, I want to do some painting. So I tried to do a few more guardsmen, then realized that I had to wait for ink to dry. So sacked that off, went back to the building desk and thought, I'm not building any more records, so I randomly started assembling some Sector Mechanica stuff. Okay, there appears to be a conversation about curry going on. I could thoroughly...
I'm just inviting everybody over for curry. Just so you know, when this madness finishes, we're going to have a curry night.
If Crimson gives out any kind of postal address, it's a lie. She's sending you in the wrong place.
No, I'm not.
Shut up.
No.
Shut up. Well, they're speaking. Oh, wow. They come up on your screen a minute before they come up on mine.
That's because I'm just awesome.
Hello, Fellowship of the Ping. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to have you on board. So people who do like curries, and I realize this is not even tangentially 40k related, but I ramble. I can heartily recommend the Hairy Bikers Curry Cookbook. They're all dead simple and they taste amazing. Thoroughly recommended by me. Yeah, so I'm kind of halfway through lots of little bits at the moment. And then, no, you see, Mick, Weekend at Paul's is actually a thing. It's a deployment zone regular thing. We've got one in September where all the guys who are the deployment zone regulars, there's 19 of us now this time. They're all coming over to my house for a weekend.
We could do YouTube for the regulars.
We could do
a YouTube curry evening for your regulars on here. That's what we could do.
There are over 10,000 subscribers to my YouTube. You need to think about scale.
Not everyone will want to come.
Don't listen to the help. I would love to cook curry for everyone. Not practical. I don't have a big enough pan to start. And I'd probably have to decimate the chicken population of Nottingham. No, right. I'm going to the ramble subject just to try and stop you inviting the world to my house. Because I don't have a big enough kitchen. I just don't.
Good idea, Kevin. Yes.
Makes it for us 25 once a week, a recipe that... Right.
Yeah.
So, ramble topics. Please, God, ramble topics. Right, so of all the questions, there was one from Tom C, and I apologize, Tom C. I'm not going to be able to answer this at this time, but I'm going to leave it on the list because it's a question about a part of the lore I don't really know very much about. I've not read much about the Badab War, and your question is about, my favorite chapter in the Badab War, so I can't really give you a decent answer. So I'm going to leave it there. And do you know what? If you guys want to crowdfund me a bigger kitchen that's big enough to make curry for like 1,000 people, fine. But until such a day, everyone is not coming round here for curry. So there. As much as I would like it, it's not practical. Okay, so moving on. So we have had this question before, I think, in a number of guises, but we shall have it again, but probably briefer. From Squark, do you think you'll include any of the specialist games on the channel in future, such as Blackstone Fortress? Hang on. Such as BFG, Blackstone Fortress, etc. What's BFG? Am I being really silly? Am I being slow? BFG. Battlefleet Gothic. I would love to do Battlefleet Gothic, but they don't make it anymore. And it has to be, thank you. It has to be viable to be able to do, because I need, with it being a YouTube channel that I'm trying to grow, it needs to appeal as wide as possible. And an old dead game is not something I can do a lot of the time. I also don't have it, so I'd have to acquire it, learn it, paint all the things to play it like once or twice. So if they brought it back out, I would be so in there with it. Blackstone Fortress, I like the idea of Blackstone Fortress, but I'm not quite sure how I would turn that into a YouTube vid. Because it's quite a slow-paced game, and short of just sort of putting a camera on the ceiling and filming hours worth of play, I'm not quite sure how I would make that work. Kill Team, maybe. Kill Team might get incorporated into things. Because I've played a little bit of Kill Team. Might get incorporated into some things as I do other campaigns. So that's a maybe. Necromunda, I mentioned earlier, I happened to, some Necromunda fell into my basket and then turned up in a cardboard box. So I have a notion of doing a gang campaign, a solo hammer gang campaign of 2 gangs. But it's got to be, I've got to have the scenery right for it, which is one of the reasons I sort of thought, maybe I should build some of my Sector Mechanicus scenery, because you can use Sector Mechanicus for that. So I thought, maybe. I bought Escher, because Clan Escher, load of psycho girls in studs and pink mohawks. Brilliant. I wanted to do Goliaths, but I don't like the model range. They're just too utterly... I mean, they're all meant to be muscled up and so on, but they're just walls of muscle with axes from what I can see. The models didn't appeal. I then found it really, really difficult to choose another gang. I really did. Nothing really absolutely grabbed me. And so I narrowed it down to 2, and it was a choice between Vanzar and Goliath for 2 very, very different reasons. I think the Goliaths are a very believable gang in the setting. They're miners who just group together to protect their interests. So they're just normal folks, with guns and spiky things. So I think they're very believable, but I also think they look pretty dull. The other one were Vanzar, just because when Necromunda came out first time round, I'd have been, what did I say? Did I say I didn't? Yes, that is Orlocks. What did I say? Did I say Goliaths? I meant Orlocks. Thank you, Moog. Got my back, buddy. The ones with Vanzar, because when it came out first time round, I had a Vanzar t-shirt. I'd have been about 15. Yes, sorry, I meant Orlocks. Yeah, in the sort of mid-90s, we did loads of t-shirts. I had a Terminator one, which was my favorite t-shirt for about 5-6 years. I possibly still have it somewhere, or it might have got lost in my last move, because I lost a couple of boxes of stuff that were in the attic and I forgot about. Yes, we had a Vanzar t-shirt. That's the other reason. But they looked a little bit too high-tech. They looked a bit too close to infinity, which I don't think, whilst it's a good setting, I don't think goes well in the 40k universe. So I was a bit... I ended up getting the Orlocks, but I'm pretty uninspired by them, I must admit. I don't particularly want to do the Enforcers because it's just the cops, isn't it? I want to do gang warfare rather than cops beating up gangs. So, yes. Specialist games, maybe. I have got Nautica Imperialis, and I actually painted all those up a couple of years ago at Christmas. So I've got the first, not the first, because it's a subsequent release, the first box set from the second release of Aeronautica Imperialis, and they're all painted. So I haven't got around to learning it and playing it yet. Yeah, so maybe watch this space, but don't hold one's breath, because that would be imprudent. Remarkably imprudent. Okay. So, Hene asked, have you ever dabbled in the Space Wolves? What are your thoughts on them and their changing style from Space Vikings to wolf anything fetishists? I have dabbled in Space Wolves. A friend of mine had a very large Space Wolf collection, almost all infantry based with a few rhinos. And that was very much based on the Space Viking theme. And he actually quit playing them when they made them go all wolfish. I have a small Space Wolf force. It's still in the wrapper, so it's nowhere near being table ready. It's mostly going to be based around infantry, with maybe a dreadnought and a vehicle, maybe two if it gets quite large, with packs that are the appropriate size. So the thing I like about Space Wolves is they start as big packs, and it's not like a normal Space Marine chapter with squads where it takes casualties and then move people in. Your pack is your pack, and it just shrinks over time, which is why the Blood Claws, when they're all young and enthusiastic, there's loads of them, and they're all super keen on getting close and hacking things to death. Then your Grey Hunters, as they've matured, it's a smaller maximum unit size because they're the only ones that survive. That's why your Long Fangs, your old ones, they're very small unit because there's only that many still alive. So I do like the Viking style, and that's definitely where I will be taking mine. The thing that really turned me off to them was when they started riding big wolves. I'm like, really? Where all of a sudden did these inflated wolves come from? And why did a Space Marine see a big wolf and go, I'll ride that into combat? Where they've got no direct control over it. It was just a really moment. Really. They just struck me as silly. I couldn't reconcile it in my mind, and I still struggle with that. So, yeah, there will be some wolves, but there'll be a pack of wolves rather than anything else that will accompany them. And there are no wolves on Fenris. Why would you not ride a huge wolf into combat? Because it's a huge wolf. Why would you not ride a huge wolf into combat? See, that's the thing. Moog's asking, aren't the wolves prospective Marines that failed the rites? Okay, so would you ride your mate into battle? If the big wolves are sort of space wolves that have had the you would all ride your mate into battle, okay. No.
Well.
No. No. Yeah, you see, rule of cool. I don't know how they managed to stay on their backs. It just doesn't strike me as right. No, definitely no. It just doesn't strike me as. I can't suspend my disbelief. Yeah, probably is an outcome of a drunken bet. I bet you can't ride Gerald into the next fight. Okay, yeah, I'll see you at the bottom of Mjod. Oh no, why have I woken up taped to Gerald?
Sounds like a nice Saturday night.
Went into my lungs. I've got Pepsi lung. Okay, Colin. Yes, you and I are mates, and I wouldn't ride you into battle either. If you could get the Kislev cavalry of old, they had bear cavalry, where they'd rip you apart with their bare hands. And that would make sense, because then what you're doing is you are steering a creature that is much more dangerous than you into your enemy, where they will kill it. What you are doing is putting a very, very dangerous armored killing machine on top of a much less dangerous, larger, unarmored killing machine. Still in the lung. So, yes. Ramble topic from I don't know why, but the effects of bad drinking, the answer is then to drink more. So I'd like regular cavalry. I don't see any problem with upgrading a weak thing by putting it on a more powerful thing. It seems like you're doing the opposite. You're actually making the Marine less stable, a bigger target, less able to directly control their movements. And, yeah. Right, moving on. Should there be more lore on the Chaos Gods? Which Chaos God is your favorite? Yes. Yes, there should be. Okay, it can go away now. It had its mouth. What did you do last night? Oh, I went onto YouTube and watched some guy coughing. Really? Yeah. More lore on the Chaos Gods. Yeah, I would like. All you really know about the Chaos Gods is a brief description. I mean, it might as well just be a few lines about Khorne is a blood god, so killing things, skulls. Slaanesh is the prince of excess and all those sorts of things. I want to know more about their harder. I want to know more about their realms in the warp. I want to know more about the Garden of Nurgle. I want to know more about the flaying fields of Slaanesh. I want to know the different factions that vie for the the attentions of their god. I want to know about what the different mortal followers of those gods do. And this goes into the fact that I want chaos cults in the army, in the game, because they exist in the narrative. You know, the different ways that different people end up becoming devotees of the chaos gods. So, for example, if you look at, Khorne, for instance, he's often just seen as a slathering, hack your head off kind of guy. But demons, things like.
I don't know whether that were relevant.
It is relevant. It is relevant. It is. But I'll get to that in a minute. So Samus is a famous demon from the Horus Heresy books who gets under the skin of his victims and turns them on their brothers. But they don't become mindless berserk killing machines. They're more sort of insidious, distrustful murderers. You contrast that with a bloodthirster who is just turn up. If it's alive, I'm killing it. And it's the different aspects, the different ways that different gods can manifest is something I would really like them to go into detail on in their books and in the codices. Because the demons, the demons are. He didn't just cough, he blew his nose at us as well. All right.
Blow your nose, it might stop you coughing.
Blow my nose. Really?
Really?
Really? Oh, she's a nurse. Okay. Yep. Although I have lost my train of thought. What was my train of thought? Where was I going? What was I talking? Where am I? Who am I? Why have I got pot plants? People buy them for me. Oh, where was I going with that? I'd like to see, or they are. I have a similar thing with Necrons, right? One of the things that I had, one of the things I had problems with Necrons was I felt they had no personality to play. They were fine as an opponent. They were sort of the inimicable, faceless army of the undead. So they're great as an adversary, but there's no depth to them to play, no motivation, no no motivation and no real background to them. Now they changed all that, and they've produced some really good books, and they are now both. You could see them still as the faceless, shiny undead monsters, or you can get in their heads with what the aspirations of the Pharaon is, or the Overlord, and the squabbles. That it's a combination of a quibble and a squabble, and the quabbles that they're having with don't wreck the joint, and the quabbles that they have with cryptex and what motivates destroyer cults and all those really good things. So I can get into the mind space of them and play them. Demons are in the space now that Necrons were in, where it's fine if you're just lining them up and going, oh no, we're being attacked by a massive horde of demons. And they're like, yeah, we've got to kill them all. Okay, so if you play Grey Knights versus demons, the narrative comes from the Grey Knights, for instance. There's very little to hang any narrative off for the demons, other than we want to spread disease, we want to kill things, we want to diddle things to death, we're just plotting. We're plotting for what? Stuff. It feels like it's a it feels hollow to play. So I would like to see that fleshed out. I'm watching you two.
Kev's getting some catering equipment. This is going to happen.
Stop it. Which Chaos God is my favourite? I like them all. And this is a bit of a. It's not a cop-out answer. It's the actual answer. I don't have a favourite, and that is because I struggle to get into their motivation headspace when I'm playing their mortal followers or when I'm playing their demons. What are they trying to achieve and why? I don't get what they're trying to achieve in a given scenario. There's just no context for that to help me make that leap. So I'm afraid I don't have a favourite. Okay, next one. Aaron582 said, do you think Chaos will play the same or similar to how they were with the 3.5 Codex? So, for context, the third edition Codex, they brought out an updated version, which was before 4th edition, but still as part of third. It was incredibly rich with narrative rules for each legion. Ingesting those rules really gave you a sense of how that army behaves in the narrative and the ability to play that on your tabletop. So it was great book. When I do a really big Chaos Ramble, I'll be holding it, and then I'll be going, and this one, and then this one, and then this one was terrible, and then this one also terrible, also terrible, also terrible. Okay, and this is the one we have today. So I hope they do, because the Death Guard now definitely have their own feel, as do the Thousand Suns. The others all can be made to be just different, the same army painted different ways. And I like the fact that in the Night Lords, in the Iron Warriors, you couldn't have anyone with the Mark of Chaos because they just don't do that. They didn't back then. Alpha Legion don't do it. Word Bearers, I think you had to be undivided as well, because they don't go in for one god over others. They worship it as a pantheon. So and then you had different options. So back in the day, Iron Warriors were the only ones that could have Vindicators, and you also got to have Basilisks crewed by your Iron Warriors. And you were the only legion allowed to take more than one unit of Obliterators. And they got siege rules and all sorts of really nice stuff. What did other ones get? You see, I didn't play all the armies back then, so I don't remember all the rules. I think Night Lords could take Raptors as troops. Might have to check that. I think I'm making that up. But yeah, they really gave that look and feel. And the what's it called? The book with the I'm not rising to it, and the book with the not the Lost and Damned, Faith and Fury, the psychic awakening book, Faith and Fury. That brings a lot of it back. The what they call the stratagems and the relics and the warlord traits, they're all really good, and they all really give you that flavor. What I'd like to see, what the next bit could be, would be, should be, maybe, is the elements that allow you to tailor your lists. So I think Black Legion had chosen as troops. She's laughing her head off over it. So I guess this kind of morphs into what would I like to see? Well, assuming they were all in the same book. I don't think they will be in the same book. I think GW will do World Eaters and Emperor's Children as separate, and they will do to their model range what they did to the Death Guard model range and the Emperor's Children model range. I think they will expand them. They will expand them significantly. That's what I think they're going to do. So I think you'll end up with a generic Chaos Space Marine book with 5 or 6 legions in it. 6 if you count Fallen Dark Angels. So, well, yeah, what I hope they're going to do is I hope they allow for some of the tailoring of units. I think Word Bearers used to be able to take Possessed as troops, for instance. So, tangentially, Moog then asked which traitor legion deserves a standalone codex. And then he says something about it being word bearers. So I think they all do. I think every one of those legions could have its own standalone book. But then again, I think that about the loyalist chapters as well. So if you take Alpha Legion, for example, you could have auxiliary agents in there. You could have all sorts of civilian agents. You could have Hydra-based stuff. I mean, if you just think about Death Guard, right? So Death Guard, previously, they were your options are Plague Marines and other things you can give a Mark of Nurgle to. So out of that, they produced Plague Drones, Blight Haulers, Plague Burst Crawlers, 4 or 5 support characters. They tweaked the Chaos Lord archetype, the Sorcerer archetype. They introduced a new infantry unit, the Poxwalkers. They took Terminators and moved them up to the next level. You could do any of that with any of the other legions. So, I mean, Khorne, you could have all kinds of random slaughterer person or insidious murderer. You know, you sort of sneaks in and stabs people kind of thing, or your headsman with the traditional massive axe or big flails of skulls, ones who don't actually do anything other than charge forward, that no armor or anything, and they just hack at things. Or you could have ones that are more. I mean, to think about the demon engines that demon devotees of Khorne could produce. You could go through this with any of them. Word bearers. They had the Gal Vorbak, what could be a variation of possessed, much more elite. They're sort of original demons. You could have different types of possessed. You could have characters that could be possessed. I'm using the word possessed a lot. They had unique troops with sort of corrosive flame acid type. I think they were wrist-mounted flamers. You could have units that had, I wouldn't say psychic abilities, but the word bearers know the language of creation and annihilation. There's no reason why there can't be units that use that. And they just think of the modeling opportunities with big sort of scripts and 8-pointed stars everywhere, like the current range, but just turned up to 11, with mutations and, like I said, and sort of scroll work and all sorts. The one that's trickiest, I guess, is Black Legion, because they're a bit of everything. Maybe Iron Warriors. You could have all kinds of different siege guns. In the books, they talk about mobile cannons and artillery formations, rhinos that link into defensive formations. You think all of these things that they've had in the books could be brought to life. Siege cannon units, artillery units. Yeah, you could do so. Breaches. You know, you could have like boarding torpedo-y type things that just smash through walls and then the psychopaths get out. So yeah, I think they totally could all have it. Okay, Princeps Harry, do they have enough unique stuff to be on the same level as Death Guard or Thousand Suns? Okay, so I've already touched on that. Again, going back to Thousand Suns, before they had a sorcerer and they had rubric marines. That's what was in the list before. They have expanded that. They've expanded that significantly with Terminators, with Zangors, Okay, they only added 2 things, but they've made a whole codex out of it. And now we'll take this other thing out of Fantasy Battle and call it a Mutilate Beast. And what else did they got in Thousand Suns? Oh yeah, all the floaty disc Zangors with the shooty arrows, and even just a few units is enough to make something pretty unique with all of the bells and whistles, accoutrements, psychic powers, stratagems. They just then you can give them Magnus. They just need something sufficiently different in the rule set to make them stand out. And I think it's eminently doable. If you can do it with Thousand Suns by only adding 2-3 units, you can do it with any of those legions. I guess it depends on their appetite for producing new models, new rule sets, whether they think things will stick. Obviously, they're very, at the moment with Space Marines, they're very much on the road of everything is in your core Space Marine Codex, and then you've got add-ons to it. I imagine they'll want to do something similar with Chaos. So whether they'd want to go too far away from that mold, because then they can upgrade everything in one go in the main book, but then release supplements. It's definitely doable. Definitely doable. Right, Moog asked again, like a day later, which traitor legion deserves its own codex, range refresh, and new unique miniatures, and why is it word bearers? It's all of them. It's all of them. I can't think of a single Chaos Legion that wouldn't be absolutely freaking awesome if they refreshed it all when we did it. I really can't. And now, so this one's from Bardy Boy. Which style of vehicles? There's a few here. What style of vehicles do you think Genestealer cult should get to show the types of vehicles normal citizens have access to? Now, that's an interesting one, because with the Genestealer cults, the model range, they've gone down the route of saying these are all minors, and they've sort of said, yeah, okay, the minor mutations mean they often have to work on the periphery of society, where mutations are a little bit more common. So they're sort of outcasts, but they've all gone down the mining route with mining lasers and rock grinding tools and so on. But there's going to be all sorts of different scenarios. If you're a Genestealer cult in a city, you aren't going to totally move out. You're going to have third or fourth generation cultists who pass as human, who infiltrate. Now, what kind of organizations will they infiltrate? Well, we know they infiltrate the Guard, the PDF. That's why Brood Brothers are a thing. When they fight in the books, they often refer to, and this person was wearing a fireman's uniform. This one was dressed like a waiter. This one was this. This one was that. I think there are other civilian contexts. I think it would be odd, for instance, if you had a road car kit. If you added a road car, for instance, to the existing Genestealer cult range, because it's all minors. So I'm not quite sure, without doing a whole range in a different civilian setting, how you would add things. I like the idea of the cult limo. I can see that's just popping up in the chat. But would that fit holistically with the mining way they've gone? Probably not. You probably have to do a few civilian cars. You'd have to do a range of models in different civilian get-ups. I suppose what you could do is you could add just sort of beat up civilian vehicles to the mining range, similar to in, what is it? Is it Terminator? I think it's in Terminator, when he's having a flashback and they're fighting Terminators and they're driving around on the back of an old pickup truck that they've just stuck a gun on. I guess you could do that. You could sort of batter up the civilian vehicles. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, I would say I'd say things like utes, pickup trucks, with a lot of Genestealers in, just hanging out, shooting stuff. The rich owner of the minor corporation has the limo. Okay, guess it'd have to be a bulletproof limo. But what practical use would it be to you in the game? It would make great sense if you were doing something role-play oriented, where you were sort of infiltrating, or rather, you were reacting to an infiltration, trying to find the cause of the unrest in the city. But quite how that would translate to a 40k tabletop, I am less sure. So the next one from Bardy Boy. To build off Moog's word bearer's request in Genestealer and vehicles, and based on the Craft World's ramble, what unique units should specific sub-factions get access to for any and all factions? Things like Black Guardians, Court of the Young King, Hounds of Morkai, etc. I think the Hounds of Morkai are the Space Wolf one, I'm not sure. Black Guardians, yes please. Court of the Young King, yes please. For Ulthway and Beltan, respectively. What other units should specific sub-factions get access to? That is a very broad question. I would like to see things like White Scars have a unique troop, even if it's just they can take bike units as troops. I'd like to see them being a mounted cavalry army. Bike cavalry. They all had their own unique units, but now they've rolled it all up, so they're not like back in the day. It was Snakebite Boar Boys, Evil Sons, Buggies. Now they're Speed. Could also be Evil Sons, or could not be. And I totally missed talking about this. I even stuck it to the laptop and I didn't talk about it. Right. We're jumping back. So it was on the Chaos Gods. Mr. Squark said, are they gods or are they just concentrated warp energy? Yes. That then comes down to a very philosophical conversation about what actually is alive. So if you've ever seen the Ghost in the Shell, the original series, and the original films and the original series, they talk about what is alive. So a person can have their brain downloaded into a shell. They at that point are data that's in a construct. I'm going somewhere with this. They're data in a construct. So are they alive or are they not? They're the ghost in the shell, but are they alive? Is an artificially created intelligence any less alive for being in a shell, even if it didn't start in a flesh body? They both look the same, walk the same, talk the same, but they have different origins. Is one alive? Is one not? It's the same principle, I think, with Chaos Gods. Irrespective of how any... So again, game world now, but I guess it does sort of touch on general philosophy. But any entity has to come from somewhere. Is where it comes from relevant to what it is and what it does? So the coalescence of concentrated warp energy, because the warp reflects emotions, the emotions coalesce and become self-aware. That's why murder, one of the very early Chaos Gods, disease, very early Chaos God. Siege, machinations, I don't know. I'm sure there are some emotional gaps there. I don't imagine that it's entirely a foolproof. I don't think it's all encompassing. There's gaps. But if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, is it a duck? Are they gods because they were born gods? Or are they gods because they are self-aware manifestations of that energy? Is someone alive because they are the ghost in the shell and they came from a body? Or can the artificial be alive? There you go. How's that for weird and off topic? Not on topic, but there's thought for the day. I should send that into Radio 4 and they can put that on Thought of the Day tomorrow. It might not be a duck. It might be a deep cover Spexnaz operative. What with the stripy blue shirt and the beret? I don't know what's going on in the chat, but
you don't need to worry.
I'm not sure I like it. I'll let you all guess who asked this one. Are the spikes on Imperial starships there to dissuade Thunderhawks from roosting on them? What is quite interesting? What is quite interesting is Helldrakes, because it is tangentially related. Because Helldrakes are, if I remember rightly, they are possessed aircraft that mutate into the aspect of the flying demon, and they actually roost inside the exterior of the starship. So if you imagine a Hell Talon becomes demonically possessed, it mutates, its wings tuck back, it develops claws, and it actually becomes a burrowing creature in the outside of the ship. That's the one reason why I thought I could potentially get away with my Night Lords having a Hell Drake, because it could be they could not want it there, and it's just growing in the outside of the ship, and the sorcerer keeps it there. It's his pet. But other than that, I don't think on ships with or without spikes, I don't think Thunderhawks roost on the ships. So correlation must equal causation. Therefore, Imperial spikes prevent Thunderhawks from roosting on them. Okay, so have you ever considered, this is one from Bardy Boy, have you ever considered running a campaign using the Crusade rules? In all honesty, no. Because the Crusade rules are a system for how to add some continuity between your games, but it's a rigid system. It doesn't allow me the flexibility to do whatever I want. It makes me follow rules. And I will find that restrictive and constricting when creating a campaign. I will want to say, well, this happened to the guy, so this is going to happen. And I have no way of knowing whether that rule set will allow for it. It also means I have to learn a rule set, and the admin involved in it, I don't think will add to the stories I want to tell. So no, but that's not to say I dislike it as a concept. Years ago, I would have really liked that. That's just not where I am now. And I can see that being a lot of fun if you're playing a regular game with friends and you want to see what happens between battles in a way where you're not necessarily telling a story, but you're generating it as you go along. Because like all rule sets, it's balanced and it's fair. So you can say, right, we're not gonna try and tell a story which might favor one or other of us. we're going to use this thing and see what happens to our guys. Okay, great. I can see the appeal in that. I really can see the appeal in that. So how are we doing for time? Right. I am going to put a line in my notes to come back to next time, because we are an hour in and I can see a massive, massive stack of Post-it notes. It can't all be about curry. So, thank you, Master Ston. Any order for these?
No.
No, just pick
Random.
one and go.
Just random.
Okay. Poor Gray. So, have you seen the Kill Team box yet? Supposedly got Plastic Krieg. Oh, no, I haven't. Plastic Death Cup. Well, Forge World did discontinue them. Plastic Death Corps of Krieg. Oh no, that'll be another army I'd have to buy. No, I haven't seen it, but I am intrigued. I am intrigued. Does that mean the others will be orcs because it was set on Armageddon? That would fit. They're doing a whole bunch of new orky things at the moment. Oh no, so I haven't seen it, but I'm excited if it's true and excited to see where they go with that, because I would really like them to represent a lot of different guard regiments in their kits. Oh, yeah. Mick is saying, she's drawn. I want. Oh, you said that last time, didn't you? That Mick always gets a heart. Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah. I want to start playing Necromunda again. Loved it as a kid. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's really great to be able to play it, even if it always was a relatively quick game. And if you played it a few times, things would really start to twist and turn. And it's ironic that 10 minutes ago, I said I wouldn't want that from the Crusade system, but it actually quite appeals for Necromunda, because you've only got 10 people. You are telling the story of those individual people, not the tale of an army. So if one of them dies, it's relevant whether they get better or not. Whereas 40k, much less so. So yeah. Necromunda. We shall see. We shall see. Oh, Mick again. I still want to see a 40 game played. I still want to see 40k game played out in a train graveyard. Oh, that'd be cool. I thought when I read it, I thought you wanted to watch someone play 40k in a graveyard. And I thought, that's weird, mate. Weird. But no, you mean a table of tracks and rusting carriages and so on. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I wonder where you'd get the train carriages that were the right scale without having to make them yourself. I wonder if there are any sort of kids' toys that could be. Yeah.
Train sets and stuff. You could create one.
Right, Paladin Wiggles. All factions should have their own supplements. Where's my Eandon supplement? I know. You could do, yeah. I like the. I've said before, I like the notion of there being generic 40k rules that you can play with and extra things that you can bolt on. I see nothing wrong with having a generic Craftworld Eldar book and then having all sorts of different supplements to go on with that, which people can, which may or may not use. Yeah. But it's all geared towards competitive balance at the moment. So I imagine that how 4 specific supplements would affect that is possibly part of their motivation, especially given the love of churning out books to make us all buy. So I can only assume there's something holding them back, or the production costs are long, prohibitive, etc. Okay. For Moog, if I remember correctly, there used to be roles for generic vehicles used by cults, and you'd then convert whatever. Nice. They used to have that in the Orc Codex. You would have looted truck, and you can make it out of whatever you wanted. I've seen people do them out of all sorts of other vehicles. I've seen Tau skimmers with wheels just welded onto them. Great stuff. I think GW lent away from that because of the whole legal thing with if they don't produce a kit for it, other people can legitimately produce something, and they can't hold it against them. I gather relatively recently that they're trying to discourage third-party parts from models at their events. So, yeah, they would certainly, I think, be discouraging the use of that. Okay, Garfield. When I have done demons with my mates, we did it framed within the grave game? What's that say, Sarah?
It says great game.
That's
how it was spelled. So
okay. Within the great game to give so motivate. Oh, we did it frame within the great game to give some motivation on their actions. Okay, so I think what you're saying is you sort of, if I've understood correctly, rather than the objectives being the actual physical game of 40k that's being played, it was all part of the sort of eternal game of chess that the ruinous powers are all playing with each other. Sorry, Garfield, it's not you. It's not you either. It's
you.
It's me. Yeah, okay. So the context, not in the victory of a particular game, but it's on the knock-on effect to, does this increase the does this put them a notch high? Does Slanesh get a notch up on Khorne by doing this? That kind of thing. Yeah, that makes sense. Like that. Another one from Garfield. Battlefleet Gothic may not be supported by GW, but it's still alive and kicking with its community, consolidated rules, and eBay models. Yeah, same as Warhammer Fantasy Battle. It's something that I would quite like to dabble in, but the investment in something that isn't supported means it has a relatively small YouTube audience, which means it's not, until I'm full-time, it's not something I can invest the time on, which is sad and unfortunate. I might be able to do some dabbling in things like Fantasy Battle because I already have the models. The only time I need to spend there is just to play a game, not to collect all the models, learn the rules, paint them, and so on. Mr. Squark, I love the thought from last week, running a campaign from Gothic to Aeronautica to Armageddon to 40k to Kill Team. Yeah, I would love to have all the tools in the box to play all the aspects of a particular battle in one system and tell the whole story as a narrative campaign. That would be amazing. Mr. Squark, gotta say, Paul, the beer is looking great tonight. The beard? Beer. No, beard.
That's my writing.
I read beard and said beard. No, it's my brain. Why, thank you, sir. You can't really see terribly well because of the black shirt. You can't put my hand under there. It's getting there. A little bit scraggy at the ends. I do brush it. I've got a special brush, you see. Oh, I've brushed the beard. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, I have. Ow. Ow. It's getting long enough to snag now. And I lose hairs when it snags.
Can't afford to lose any.
No. Okay, Moog. Thunderhawks have machine spirits, so Ghost in the Shell argument earlier, they could be alive and therefore might well roost. Well, quite. Softwall, bring back Atlanteans. When were they from? I don't remember Atlanteans. Were they Rogue Trader era? No, it doesn't say Atlanteans. It's Attillans.
Yeah.
Attillans, were they the Rough Riders? The Attilan Rough Riders. They're the Mongolians. Yeah, they were cool. Lots of guard units. It is an interesting point about the machine spirits. Are they alive? If they are, it means having things like servo skulls is really sick. Nick, in the Warhammer Plus trailer, they had an Orc Commando grabbing a Krieger by the throat. Hey, Orc Commandos. In which case, I wonder if it's too late to send these back. Orc Commandos and Death Corps of Krieg. Oh, yes. That sounds exciting. I like the look of that. I just hope it's better value than the last Kill Team box they did, which was, let's be honest, an absolute rip-off. Wasn't the rule, I'm sorry, from Mr. Squad, wasn't the rule before the model had to be 80% GW, whereas now it has to be 100%? I don't know the specifics, to be honest. I followed a couple of links and saw some like events summary, which seemed to read, from what I remember, was, yeah, everything on the model has to be GW. And I think someone was saying, well, what about resin bases? Can you not use third-party bases? What if the flock or the stones you glue to it aren't GW? I think it feels a bit short-sighted to me. A rising tide lifts all boats, but they must have their reasons. Oh, what's this? Get a boar bristle brush. They're amazing. Is that like a basil brush? Boom, boom! No, probably not. Get a boar bristle brush. Okay, I will look into that. Boar bristle brush. I will try and keep that in my mind for the next time I'm buying beard products. Hit me. Is that all of it?
That we're finished.
Have we?
These are four right at the end. That's quite an important one. Okay.
Models needing to be 100% GW. It's Warhammer World. Yeah. But it's their products. You don't get Pepsi in the Coca-Cola canteen. That's what one of the staff in Warhammer World said to me once when someone else came in and said, is it all right if we play Mantic? And he said, no, it's not. And then when they left, he sort of muttered under his breath, you don't get Coke in the Pepsi canteen. Or the other way around. Okay, so we're on to the end post-its.
Just Teutonic Knights just asked a question.
Oh, okay. Have you picked an army for the Gehenna campaign? Orcs. Wow. So one thing I did do. Did I mention this? I don't know. Myself and Gambit filmed a game for Deployment Zone, which I have sent over to Liam. No idea when they're going to post it, but that's a Gehenna game, and it is Orcs versus Dark Angels. That was a lot of fun to film. So yes, Orcs for Gehenna. Don't know. It's still not certain yet whether I'm going to be doing anything much with Gehenna. I need to catch up with Winters and Liam and see if they want me to do anything for Gehenna, whether they want me to do anything for them, whether they would be. I'm sure they would want me to, but whether they want me to do anything for, for my YouTube linking to Gehenna, I can't imagine they wouldn't want me to. But you've got to ask. It's courtesy, isn't it? Or free publicity, as Winters would put it. Yeah, that makes sense, Mr. Frost. You could have sculpted parts yourself or designed and printed yourself, but not if you bought them from somewhere else. Yeah. Right, okay, let's head to the wrap-up. Okay, so this one says, Paul Fest seems to be a done deal. Don't know what that means. What? So I can see out the corner of my eye in the chat, this started from, we all need to have a curry, and it appears to be now some kind of rock concert in a field where you will worship me. I might not have caught the exact gist of that.
That's about it.
That's about it, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I abdicate all responsibility for what you lunatics want to sort out.
You just need to turn up.
I just did. Okay. The sixth chaos god.
That's funny.
Okay, next week's topic to put to the vote. Who asked that?
No, I just wondered if you wanted to do it. You were supposed to read it in your head first and then say it.
Okay, if it's something I'm supposed to read in my head first, maybe if you maybe put in brackets at the top, read this in your head first.
So picky.
I mean, I am just reading them all out. I mean, what else do you expect me to do?
I see, look, Mick. Thank you, Mick.
I don't know. For some future weeks, maybe. Not for next week, because I don't know how insanely busy I'm going to be with work to the end of this week. And then when I get through the weekend, I might not have enough time to get something sorted. And I wouldn't want to set an expectation that doesn't get met. So she's just taking them off me. What's she taking them off me? What's she doing now? I don't get it.
Well, the week after next, then. Yeah?
Yeah, we'll do that at some point. We'll do that at some point. It's got to be, if it's a ramble topic, it's got to be something I feel like I know enough I can talk about for an hour. So, if someone says to me the trials and tribulations of Elias, can't remember his surname, I'm going to struggle. What we got here? Oh, wow. Okay. Clothing presents. Clothing presents? Well, Mick and Junkie, thank you both very much. And thank you to Eldar Blog and Granzillo. Is that everyone on there who's
Junkie
donated? Junkie Inc. And Mick, you donated twice, you lunatic. Thank you. That's for the Paul Fest.
That's for the Paul Fest, though. So
Okay, you realise that writing something you would like underneath a super chat is not contractually binding. Oh, thank you all very much. It's amazingly appreciated. It really is. And we've had 3 new level 2 members today, which is super cool. Jesu Ariola, Steve, and the Fellowship of the Ping. Welcome. Yay. Woo. And thank you all so very, very much for joining me tonight and joining us tonight and listening to me ramble. Thank you for all the admin and somehow managing to arrange a rock concert. Can I give you a list of bands?
No.
It's quicker on your screen. How is it quicker on your screen than on my screen?
I can kidnap, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah. Thanks, Mick.
you know I'm
Thanks,
taping.
Mr. Scott.
You know I'm taping this. Yeah, this is going to be on the internet, and if I get kidnapped and disappear, you're gonna. There's going to be an investigation, and you'll be in some kind of interrogation room.
Be fine. Don't worry. Stop worrying.
Well, Mick, if you want to invite Metallica and Slipknot, you go for it. Rob Zombie is my favorite band of all time. So yeah, okay, you're kind of listing a lot of my favorite bands. So great.
He's tempted now. He's tempted.
Okay, thank you all very, very much. We will wrap up there. As ever, thank you for joining me. Thank you for making this an amazingly fun ramble. And I hope I will see you folks next week. Take care. Bye for now. Say bye, Crimson.
Bye, everyone.
Say bye, Crimson.
Bye, Crimson.
Bye. How'd you turn it off then?